is Politics Spotlight. As reaction continue to treat the activities of political parties and political leaders in Nigeria, the General Superintendent of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Pastor Williams Kumuyi, has called on political leaders and political parties to accede and look at the heartbeat and yearnings of the country and conduct research where necessary before jumping to conclusion on who leads the country come 2023. Kumuyi, who gave this advice while addressing newsmen in Ilorin shortly after a courtesy visit to Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State, maintained that the Muslim or Christian ticket is a difficult and slippery decision to follow. However, the big issue ahead of Nigeria and the faith community is a revolution that may follow if political parties and leaders turn down the cause of the church leader like Pastor W.F. Kumuyi. On this episode, we want to consider the state of the nation and the resolution of the Nigerian church as 2023 general election winding. And on the show today are two gentlemen. On the first is the special advisor on religious matter to Governor Akinwunmi Ambode, the immediate past governor of Lagos State. And I have his name is Pastor Kolawole Verrals, and the National Directorate, the National Director, PFN Directorate of Politics and Governance, Pastor Femi Emmanuel, and our additional online Iwaju. The show begins in a moment. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Spotlight, and perhaps you're just joining us. Before we go on that short break, I have two gentlemen on the show today with me. The first is the special advisor on religious matter to immediate governor of Lagos State. That's Governor Akinwunmi Ambode. His name is Reverend Kolawole Verrals, and of course we have the National Director of PFN Directorate of Politics and Governance, Pastor Femi Emmanuel. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Pastor Femi, let me start this conversation from you.
All right.
At the moment, what is the stand of the church as far as the nation is concerned?
Well, the stand of the church as far as the nation is concerned is that the church should wake up and take a rightful position in putting this country right. We all know what Nigerian nation has become. Everything is upside down. Nothing is working. Insecurity. University closed down. Economic downturn. Naira is on the free fall. Nothing really is working. Unemployment. So we felt this is not how it should be. The stand of the church is that things should change. This was not the nation we've been praying for. We've been praying for this nation as long as I can remember my name. And this actually is not the nation that the fathers of Nigeria worked to build. So the stand of the church is that there must be a change. She can't afford to continue like this. That's for the nation. But for the church will also wake up and take a rightful position in the scheme of things. The church should no longer be onlookers, a sleeping giant. The church should use her influence our population, a strong voice, not just speaking, not just speaking. We are speaking to deaf people. They don't hear. We should actually step in and take it over.
Thank you, sir. Reverend Verrals, you are the immediate, of course, you are still a government people. He told us now that we are talking to a deaf people. What's your take on that? Why do we have government defiance to the yearnings and call of the masses they govern?
Well, I will want to say that the situation in Nigeria is complex because the led are also not ready. The led, they are not ready to take the advantage position in what I call strategic involvement in governance. And you see, it's a two-side thing. Where you have a leader who have to lead, you need a follower who also have owners of what they want. A lot of things you see in the environment is both the side of the leaders, the side of the led. A common Nigerian today has a value of live for today and forget tomorrow. And when you didn't understand your orientation as your psyche, it's not hard for them to look at a way to work on the loopholes and continue to govern without listening to you. So it's a two-side thing. We have definite leaders because they led to, perhaps, majority are not aware of what they should do.
So Reverend Femi, how can the church help to correct the impression of the led, as he rightly said?
Well, he said it so correctly. Good Nigerians are not at the point where decisions that affect them are made. So it's left for political entrepreneurs, as I like to call them. How can the church correct that? The church should be involved, totally involved. The days of don't bring politics into church and don't take church into politics, those were days of ignorance, total ignorance. He says, while the owner slept, the enemy came and planted tares. So you won't blame those who have decided to own Nigeria. Some people felt they owned Nigeria and they own the political space and they could do what they like because it's been abandoned to them. That is the space the church and the good people. There are passionate Nigerians. There are patriotic Nigerians apart from the church. And like I said the other time, the church is so large, is so huge. The church does not know the power they have. And when you don't know what you have, when you don't know who you are, you waste what you have. The church does not know the power they have. What is politics? Politics is people. And I've said the other time, next to God's power is political power. And political power is people giving. And God has given the church, especially the church in Nigeria. I've never seen any country in the world that God has been so merciful to. I've said again and again, Nigerian church has prayed and God has answered our prayers over and over again. In fact, we are just asking God to do what he has already done. You ask God to change Nigeria, intervene in our situation, and he gave us people. Look at the revival in the body of Christ. We are the Pentecostals. Pentecostal alone, on statistics, has over 65 million members. How many people determine who the president is or the governor is? But we need to wake up. We need to be involved. He says we are the salt of the earth. The salt does not stay on the shelf aloof. The church gets the salt gets involved in what you are cooking and change the character of the food. So the church must get involved, and that is talking about the church leaders. That is talking about the fathers, the gatekeepers, the general overseers, those who have large followership, must remove this mindset of church should not get involved. Politics is dirty.
I get that.
We must correct that orientation.
Reverend Verrals, he talked about that The church in Nigeria is huge, it's large, and one of the flourishing religious aspect of it in the whole of Africa. And if you look at Nigeria today, we have a number of atrocity. Atrocity in Nigeria is on the rise. Knowing fully well that we have the church in Nigeria is one of the flourishing in Africa, the hugest, the longest, the largest. How would you describe this?
Well, permit me to start by saying that a light hidden under the bushel can never be, dismiss darkness. We have more intelligent people in the church that could run this nation very well. But we have sit at the fence to watch the less intelligent trying to drive the affairs of this nation to a mess. I want to borrow from some of the things he said. Of recent, in one of my interviews, telling people, why is it that until when we now saw the primary of the party happening, that's when the clamoring for peace visit started? That's not strategic involvement. The politician has a way of working against that. I'm sorry to say that here. The PVC that we are all collecting, yes, is good. It's part of the political participation process that we need. However, this ought to have long to become a passion of every Nigerian who wants this nation to work. But as at the time everybody is coming up, it's a time that a lot of things have been decided politically about this nation for 2023. However, God is in place.
We are going to come back to the issue of what can be done to begin to correct these anomalies. There is a claim, Pastor Femi, there's a claim that the present administration is insensitive to the yearning of the country.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to that claim?
Correctly, certainly, obviously, it's there. All the promises made are not
But you
kept.
told us that it belongs to everybody, it belongs to nobody.
Yes, and he's already displaying that. He's the president of our country, so I don't want to say anything. I'm a patriotic Nigerian, and whatever it is, we have him there until May next year. The government of the day has failed the nation. There is no two way of saying it. As a government that came in and said they will address insecurity, they address unemployment, they will address the economy of the nation, and all the points, total failure. And you could see, if we go into nitty-gritty, how it came, just like my brother said. Once you leave it for people that are not, an average politician in Nigeria is there for himself. He's not there for the country, he's not there for the masses. He only needs them to ride to that level where he begins to get things for himself. And when the good people in the house, he said, like that, would light the candle and put it under the bushel. So, talking about the government of the day, to me, in my own reckoning, is a total failure. We never had it this bad. We've never had it this bad.
We never had it this bad. Reverend, do you think this is a Fulani agenda?
Yeah, if there is a Fulani agenda, my personal opinion on that is that the church should have a counter agenda.
So,
Because where you leave every occurrence, everything that happens to a vacuum, where there is no a counter agenda, it's most likely that what we are thinking it looks like. Let us not forget as Nigerians that what we call Fulani agenda today started this way of Boko Haram. And when it started in 2009, little did anybody know that it could escalate to the level we have it today. And to the level we have it today now, there's a religious dimension in it.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that religious dimension, you see, it becomes more complex. We are Christian Fulani to tell you this now. You'll be shocked. I've met few who are Christians. And the dimension to it is to tell you now that if it is about an agenda to Fulanize Nigeria, permit me to use that word.
Yeah.
It means there should be a subtle agenda from those who have believed that this is a Fulani agenda. I tell you, we can't leave all these to chances to happen. let me talk that fact that, look, once we have such as opinion today, we must have a structure process to checkmate it. And that structure process, the one that is putting Fulanization in place, will never help you to put it in place. A lot of us who have observed the Fulanization, we've made a note of voice about it. But what exactly have we structured to checkmate this and keep it at bay? It's coming to the southwest. We're having more of occurrence of attack and kidnapping. And people who have been kidnapped have said when they are in the bush there, they saw those who kidnapped them. They are Fulani men. So what he has said, the government of the day need to improve, because leadership is not easy. They must come up with certain things that will create impression that it's not that the government of the day just holds hands and allows some people to Fulanize Nigeria.
Okay, let me throw it back to you. Don't you think, because in the church today there are several unwholesome and unholy activities, don't you think because of this, to the government, the church is a toothless dog that is just barking? Then, in relation to that, what can be done to correct this unwholesome and unholy activity for the sake of the flock?
Now, unwholesome and unholy activity is not domiciled only in the church. This is the end time. Let's be very careful. And it's about the society, you know, the society thing today. And the church is part of the society, funny enough. Somebody was asking me at one of the live TV shows that, why is it that most Christian pastors are collecting money from politicians? And I asked myself, because I've been part of the process. It's not only the Christian leaders that are giving money. To call it a short, both religious, including the traditionalists, when political era come like this, have their own portion. And it's not given so that you can sell your conscience. It's just a kind of saying, well, I give you a gratis, maybe you will consider my position. Now, what I'm trying to drive at is the fact that the moral decadence is not about the church alone, but it's just becoming very much obvious because people will not expect any of such to happen in the church. But you ask me today, the economic situation is not working. The social structure is failing. A lot of things becomes very dilapidated. So for that effect, the effect, you see it not only in the church. And because the church forms a strata of the society, it's not unlikely that you will find it in the church, but not that it's just in the church. The prevalence is just becoming increased.
In the church.
You go to the mosque, you have some of these things too. But the fact remains that the society has a benchmark they've given the church that we are saved. And for that reason, you can imagine I'm a pastor now. Everybody seeing me believe that I don't even spend money. I don't want to touch money because of the holiness. So, but we are all in the same society where the currency of relationship has to do with certain moral, decorum.
All right, we're going to go on a short break now. And when we return, Pastor Femi, there's this concept of dirty people that makes the game dirty. When we come back, you come and do justice to that question.
Right.
We'll go on a short break now. When we return, the program begins. You're welcome back. Perhaps you're just joining us. This is Politics Spotlight, and my guest today, of course, I have two of them: Special Advisor on Religious Matter to former Governor of Lagos State, Akinwunmi Ambode, and the National Director of PFN, Directorate of Politics and Governance. That's Pastor Femi Emmanuel. Before we go on that break, we're talking about the issue of or the concept of it's dirty people that makes dirty games dirty.
Yeah.
How can you describe that, and what's your take on that concept?
When people say politics is dirty, which was the lie told the church. The church has bought into that lie, and it's not just now. Politics is dirty. We are holy people. The garment must not be soiled. Jesus is coming. That lie has been bought by the church, and that is actually what led into our deep slumber.
Why is it a lie?
Because politics is not dirty. It is the people playing it that makes it dirty. And since we left it for dirty people, it has to be played dirty. No matter how much you decorate a swine, a pig, it goes into the mud. So you've left them for it. The Bible says the light shines in darkness, and darkness will not comprehend it. Arise and shine, for your light has come. And the glory of God is upon you. Darkness shall cover the world. So you don't expect anything better from people that have no respect for God, people that are not God-fearing, people that are selfish, people whose mentality is to get more, greed. You can meet people's need, you can't meet their greed. So once you leave it for such people, they play it dirty. And unfortunately for us, the church and even the good people of Nigeria have left it for long. You will weep for Nigeria when you get to the world level. Politics is grassroots. That's another thing the church does not know. When you get to the world meeting of political parties and you see the people that make up the world party members, and it is from the world that delegates are chosen that will go into the Eagle Square to cast their vote for whoever you are to vote for in case of the presidential election and the state level for governorship and all the rest of it. When you get there and see the people, in this country, poverty has been weaponized. They are so poor, illiterate, novices. So they are hungry people. And when you combine illiteracy with hunger, then you are in trouble. They will take anything. So it is dirty because it has been led to dirty people. Darkness will persist until you switch on the light. The church represents the light. And that's why the church needs to go there. And just like my brother said the other time, it's not just, maybe you are still coming to that, this collect PVC, it will amount to little or nothing. I'm not a prophet of doom, because that is not how politics is. The real power in politics is at the grassroots. It is determining those ward executives that determines delegates who will either vote in the presidential candidate, the gubernatorial candidate, the senatorial candidate. That is where the church dropped the ball. That is where good Nigerians are not available. So these money bags, political entrepreneurs are the ones that are organized these miscreants, near illiterate poor people, and they are well organized. They have their coordinators that make sure that those are the people that is why they determine. You can't be a counselor if you don't have a godfather. Who will put you forward? So politics is said to be dirty, which is not right. And any game can be played dirty. I say to people, even as a classroom teacher, you can decide to be corrupt. Even as a pastor, you can. So it is not politics per se that is, where you have politics everywhere. Politics is in the church, in our homes, politics in offices. But it is playing it positively, not negatively. In Nigeria, somehow, it has become an enterprise where people invest into and they want to make their money back, and not to let their money even profit.
All right, let's, Reverend Verrals, let's talk about the issue of politics and money. How can politics be demonetized?
Let me first of all correct an impression. You can't do politicking without money. All over the world. It's a global phenomenon.
That's right.
That politics cannot be done without money. You will observe during the heat up of the election in USA.
This is why people don't, majorly, maybe because we are Christians, don't you think this is why they don't want to get involved because of the tag with the issue of money? Even in church, some of us, or some people don't even want to meddle with what is the issue of money.
But what,
Now,
what do you do without money? Your convention.
The Bible says wisdom is excellent.
What do you
Wine
do
is
without
good.
money? Can you be on air
But
with this without money?
money answereth all things. So how come that people are thinking that you can do politics without money? Now, let me tell you, from the grassroots, let me pick from a few things that he has said to you. From the grassroots, you don't do political meeting without spending money.
No.
And if you want to avoid,
Should that be?
it should.
It should.
It's part of the process.
It should.
Only that it is when ordinarily it is it becomes over hacking interest of people in political process that it is bad. You observe at the peak of the campaign of Donald Trump, he was going house to house with food packages. I won't be shocked if there are envelopes of money in those food packages. Because it's about selling your interest to people. And people cannot easily buy you. Until when you can show actively that you are concerned about certain little things that human beings always love to see. It's because we are overplaying the involvement of money in our politics that is making it to become like it's an aberration to talk about money in politics. Look, no politics without money. You must have money. Now, the church is not so strategic. You, Larry, today, if you are interested to become a counselor, a young girl approached me in 2014 at 13. Say he has been a card-carrying member. He was not allowed until a godfather called. I say, you know what you need? Get money to print 1,000 posters if you want to become the next counselor. Just begin to post all your picture. She's one of counselors in one of the LCDA in Lagos now. She's not known. She was a teacher. Now, she's a Christian. She came to me, and I said that to her. Now, if she doesn't go and print the poster without even giving anybody any money, nobody will be asking questions. Who is the lady posting this poster around? Money does that. Those are positive ways to approach politics with money. Not buying votes. Buying votes is buying conscience and buying futures.
Not influencing delegates with
No. Those are not the kind of money politics we are talking about. But some of the process required money. Like you can't buy a form to put your interest at stake with a party. Those parties are running administratively. Those who are party leaders have to run with money. I hope you understand. If people understand some of this involvement, they will not be thinking money has to be divorced from politics.
Let me just add this. Just like I said, it has become over-bloated in Nigeria or in our space. But, ordinarily, what's a political party? A group of people with the same ideologies who had come together, print a manifesto, and try to sell it to the public and say, we can do this for you. Ordinarily, members of political parties are supposed to make contributions. That's what they call monthly contributions. But what has happened in Nigeria, because we have abandoned it, membership fee, is that political money bags now come to pay
on behalf of everybody.
On behalf of everybody. That is where we have put the Nigerian factor. You and I are supposed to pay little 200 naira, 1,000 once in a while. And because we have many, look at PDP or APC, that both that they have 50 million members. Or so. If those members were doing what they were doing, if they allow the politics to be played the way it should be played, if good people like you and I had not abandoned it, then it couldn't have been because somebody buying it up. And he who pays the pipers, they takes the cheap.
All right, we are going to leave the issue of money now. Let's quickly go to the issue of security. Do you agree that security issue in Nigeria are not ordinary? And it can only be solved in a spiritual way, Reverend?
I will just quickly bring a Bible story to that. Let me use my reverend side to answer that question. My reverend side will tell you that there was a Nehemiah who was to rebuild a wall. It came to a time he knew that people who never wanted the wall to be rebuilt were around. He gave some people sword. He gave some others prayer assignments. Now, even Jesus, our master, said, pray, watch, and pray. What is the watching has to do? It's an action verb. Because to watch is an action kind of a thing. Now, if we pray, and we are not willing to actually tinker with what exactly become a required control to keep this at bay, we are not ready. We should pray and proactively put in place measure that can say this must not be repeated. This must not happen again. Because you fold your hands, somebody slap you one time. You fold your hand, he slap you the second time. Let's thank God Jesus say when he slaps left, give the right. So the next time he should slap the face.
And conk you.
And conk you. Now, the church should pray, but at the same time, I tell you this, I said, look, the church must also consciously come together. You see, when people are trying to build this, their empire syndrome in the church, it has not helped the church. He said earlier on that all our big fathers in the Lord must come to discuss security as an issue to the church today. He's taking a dimension where we do not even know what exactly is the root of this thing. It started like we don't want Western religion education. And today, if you look at the in total of insecurity, we have kidnapper, we have banditry, we have ISWAP, we have Boko Haram that started it in Nigeria. So we have a lot of other things that have been involved in our insecurity matter. And if we want to do a justice to this, we must bring, let me tell you, a gathering of leaders of the church who will take a frontal decision on what the church will do and announce it in a communique. That's when the leader will know that the leader are beginning to think.
Like setting up like a Christian or a religious security outfit?
Well, we will not discuss that, but the leaders should come together to discuss what measure and control can keep this at bay. And once they discuss that, let it be known to members that this is what the church will do.
Nigerian problem is fundamental. Sometimes we just...
Let me add this to you before so that you can also answer it together. There is a school of thought that the security issue in the country is caused by the number of the out-of-school children. What's your take on this?
Those ones are products of bad governance, like we have been saying. Because how do you give back to children you cannot cater for? And I started by saying Nigerian problem is deep, is fundamental. Nigeria was a negotiated country. And the British colonialists were on this country for over 100 years. Our independence is just 60-something years. They sat over this country and they understood us. I have said again and again, Nigeria is not a nation. It's not one nation. Nigeria is a country of many nations. And these many nations, different nations, are not the same people. Our orientations are not the same. Our values are not the same. Our vision not the same. Everything not the same. So we are strange bedfellows. And the British saw it, that these are not the same people. That was why they gave the northern part indirect rule, different kind of rules they gave to different people. And at amalgamation, our problem started with amalgamation. You amalgamated the incompatibles. And that problem was aggravated with 1966 coup. Because, like I said, it was a negotiated country, and they saw that the best system of government that we could run is through federalism, regionalism. And you know that the best moment for Nigeria was 1960 to 66, when different regions were to rule themselves, different police system, different constitution. Then we have the central government at the top. You saw how the Western Nigeria developed, the Eastern, but with the coup of 1966 that suspended that constitution and put on us the unitary system of government. And that is what we are still battling with today. And when you look at the insecurity in the country, if we are going to be truthful to ourselves, it's from a particular region.
Does that mean that it seems that the present document guiding the existence of this amalgamated...
Yeah, these are our constitution. Yes.
It seems that it's favoring a section over another, which is why it is very difficult for the central, the federal government to want to accede to the call of perhaps restructuring or the abolition of this current constitution and to rewrite it. What's your take on that?
I've said again and again that Nigeria is a fraud. I've said again and again that our constitution is a fraud. You see, the amendment effort that is going on now is a fraud. You can't amend what is basically faulty. We have to return to the truth of regionalism or true federalism. Everything you are, look, how do you explain a country with two different types of laws? In the north you have Sharia. In the south you have another law. How do, in any country, tell me any country in the world that is operating two systems of laws within the same country? What obtains here is not what obtains there. If you look at it critically, northeast, northwest, the boundaries are opened, and that's where you see the influx of the Fulanis from the Sahel region, abducting and maiming. And we have seen some people that were abducted, that were kidnapped, and they came, those who survived, came to tell us what they saw, what they had with those who kidnapped them. I wonder if you listen to the prelate of the Methodist address the press conference, and it's not the only one. There was the lecturer that was kidnapped between Ife, Oshogbo, Ibadan, Ife Road, said the same thing, that look, we are taking over this country. It's ours. And then all the kidnapping and all the ransoms, we are stockpiling arms. And when we are fully ready, we will take over. How do you explain that? Christianity is a religion of persuasion and love. The other faith is a religion of conquest. We want to conquer, to rule, and that's ongoing. That's why I pity the church, and I weep for the church fathers. He just said something. Everybody is building his own empire, big cathedral, big tent, big convention. Now we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. We are sitting on a keg. The earlier we wake up, unless, you see, the church is not just to come up and be addressing press conferences. It has gone beyond that.
Thank you.
It has gone beyond that. There is a real agenda to conquer. And it's happening. Look, how can you explain the kind of killings that is going on? How can you explain? Whatever law is made is never made to work. And it's deliberate. So
and you think that is enough to justify the fact that there is really an agenda against the Christian faith?
That is enough, and it's happening. How will you explain what happened in Omo? What will happen? What is happening all over the place? There is a real agenda. It's in the public space. It's in the public. So and that is why going into governance to be relevant, electing good people. When people talk about this presidential election, it's as if the president is the only person that is important. What about the National Assembly?
Wow.
You can't correct these faulty laws except you have good people in the National Assembly. That, for goodness sake, which country will not allow referendum? See, there are a lot of things wrong with us.
I'm going to cut it short there.
Okay.
I'm going to cut it because we need to close to in a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
Before as we try to follow up the program, Reverend, considering the level of insecurity, unstable economy, banditages, killings, kidnapping, what do you think would be the greatest and biggest challenge or orders of the incoming president come 2023?
Well, the greatest hurdle for the incoming president will be ability to understand the Nigeria is coming to rule. Because it is from the point of understanding the quantum of expectation that makes the man qualified to rule us.
There's been a call for the incoming president that they should, either of them, they should go for a Muslim ticket or a Christian ticket or a Christian Muslim ticket.
Now let me tell you, Muslim ticket, Christian ticket are part of politicking. But the main issue is governance. And let me tell you, a Muslim could run this nation very well. If he has what it takes to understand the need of the hour, a Christian could as well do better. But the fact remains that whoever we want to become president, among whoever won the primary, I say this with no fear of anybody, must understand what is the problem of the Nigeria and the Nigeria as a nation, and must come to table with intelligent capacity to address some of these key issues you have said on ground. In the first year, he must tell us that there will be no killing, and it will happen. In the second year, he must tell us that our economy will move to about 2 digits within 6 months, and we are seeing it.
And he meant it.
And he meant it. These are things that the government of the day have promised. We are not seeing them on the table. And that's why I said the biggest hurdle for whoever becomes the president, the next one, from whichever party, is the fact that you understand the quantum of expectation for solution to the present day challenges.
Pastor Femi, as you coast home, what is your, considering the church, of course, a church person,
That's right.
and considering the state of the nation, what is your word of advice to the church leaders? Don't forget you're one of the church leaders.
That's
too.
right. That's right.
The country, in terms of governance, misgovernance. What's your take home, or what's your word of advice for?
My word of advice to the church is what I've always said. The church must come out of its lethargic position. The church must be involved in the act of governance of this country, not just mobilizing church members to obtain their PVC to vote on the election day. The church should not just be relevant on the election day. The church should be at the foundation of selecting who the public should vote for. Until we get to that level, we will not be able to produce credible candidates to vote for. Look at the two political parties, the two main political parties, where it is expected that the next president will come from. You tell me the credibility that surrounds the candidates that are coming up. When are you talking about corruption? When primaries have to be done with thousands and thousands of dollars.
Dollarized.
Where did you get that dollars? Dollarized. Where do you get it? If not from government. It has almost become that except to have stolen enough money, you can't become anything. So the church should get deeper than this late hour. Emergency, take your PVC, show your PVC before you enter. When I see them say that with glee on television, I just shake my head. What ignorance is this? It should be at the grassroots level, using our population to select the officers who become the delegate. Those are the people who can put right people there. It has to be clean from the foundation. He said when the foundation is faulty, what can you put on it? The foundation of Nigeria setting is totally faulty. It has to be corrected like from that. And then for the Nigerian populace, well, this is already on us. We are partly responsible, like we have said. Bad leaders and bad followership. I think we should wake up from being bad followers. And I tell the youth, I see the church and the youth, everybody talking about collecting PVC. The youth itself with their population should move to the grassroots. Not protesting on the road, not addressing the press, not shouting on television. The voters don't listen to that. Didn't you watch the governorship election at Ekiti? If you watched the other Saturday, who do you see queuing up to vote? Did you see youth there? These are all poor, illiterate women, market seller, paper seller, Okada riders. So it is time that good people cannot be bought with 5,000, 2,000, 3,000. It is time for them to go there at the grassroots and sanitize it from the root.
Thank you so much, and many thanks for joining us on the program today, Reverend Kolawole Verrals, the special advisor on religious matter to the immediate governor of Lagos State, Akinwunmi Ambode, and also thanks for you to Pastor Femi Emmanuel, the National Director of PFN Directorate of Politics and Governance. Like I used to tell us, and I used to question you, viewers, we also want to thank you, but I usually used to question you that, are you a conscient voter, controlled voters, or commercial voter? Let me remind you, if you have not gotten your PVC, go now and get it. Until then, when we meet again on this episode, God bless Nigeria.